Hey guys, my name is Adam Christian and this is my entry for Amp Hour's Workbench of the Week. And actually in this video we're going to construct the workbench from scratch. And so for those of you who know me, I have a lot of projects that are going on. Some are kind of ongoing, long-term projects. Some are just short, experimental projects. And I also do arcade game repair kind of on the side. And so what I've been waiting for is to have a bench with multiple stations. And so I can set up different stations for different projects that I'm working on and not have to constantly move things around and depending on what project that I'm actively working on. And so in this video we're going to go through the whole process of creating that workbench and from scratch, and then kind of see basically how it fits into the lab and everything. And we'll give you a quick tour of the lab too when we're done. And yeah, so enjoy. Good morning. As you can see, there's a bit of construction here in the lab. The whole back wall I ripped out. There used to be, this guy I think used to be over here with a nice countertop, and originally the bench was going to go this way, but I was doing the math and this room is much longer than it is wider, so it just made sense to utilize the space and have the bench come out this way. And luckily I had put an outlet over there which just happens to be dead center with what's left in the wall from that corner of the countertop to the door, so I think it'll fit nicely. And my father-in-law had this sheet of plywood, which is just massive. It's 3/4 inch, and according to him they don't even make plywood like this anymore. If they do, it's very rare. It's a 5x9 sheet, one sheet of 3/4 inch. He painted green. I guess apparently at some point used to be their ping pong table, which is pretty cool. And so my plan is to go ahead and put that here, and with a nice shelf on top, and then design it so that there's a little bit of an overhang and I can take my two other base cabinets and slide them underneath the front of them. So that's kind of how I'm envisioning it. I don't really have a set of plans. I have it in my head and I'm kind of just building it as I go along. So stick with me here and it should turn out pretty well. Get a bunch of projects going at the same time. Okay, so I got my frame here, and there's a shelf that's going to be under there for storage. And basically there'll be this huge part that comes up, goes straight across, comes down, a shelf to put logic analyzers, meters, and all that kind of junk, with a slot to have cables go down through the back and basically plug into boards that I'm working on either side. So the goal is to have like 4 projects, one here, here, and then there and there. So we got our top on. This thing is massive. If you can kind of tell how big it is from back here. This is not a huge room. It's like a 22 by 14 or 20 by 14. Takes up about half the room here. And those fit under there nicely. And I think what I might do is, because I have so many of these Craftsman cabinets, I think what I'm going to do is actually cut back this bottom shelf, because I have 2 more of these guys that I need to fit somewhere. And I can tuck them in the corner there, kind of like that, and use them as storage and whatever. So now I just have to build a big part that goes over the top, and set that all up, and then have a power strip. I want to put a power strip across so that I can plug stuff in from this side and plug stuff in from the other side. So here's the top piece, and I can kind of move over to see, well, let me show you the top. So it's basically just 2 16-inch shelves with a slot in between, and that way I can have my equipment up here and have the cables feed, the power cables and the logic analyzer cables feed through, so one for each side. And then if you look over here, I just started hooking up the power strip, and so this will eventually get slid all the way over, but it allows me to have all my scopes and junk up here and then be able to work on boards and stuff. It's pretty big. It's about 8 feet on each side, so I have all this side and then the exact same thing on the other side. And then one thing I noticed too was that the lighting is kind of cut by the shelving here, and so it creates kind of some shadow down there. So I have these small 2-foot fluorescents that I can slap under here with the switches on each side. So I'll put one in each bay and hook it up that way. So, and here we have it. Let me swing over here so you guys can get a peek. So yeah, we got 4 stations set up here. Might as well give you a tour of the lab since I'm recording this. So every station has a light, which makes the It makes the layout pretty well lit. This is kind of just like my prototyping station. These are like those global specialty prototype stations that they sell like in the $500–600 range. Back when I came out of college, we had used these extensively in school, and I loved them. And so when I came out of school, I didn't have the money to buy one, and so I just built one. It's got the same row of LEDs at the top, and it's got, power supply. It basically just has a PC power supply inside, and it's got all the terminals so you can hook up to plenty of breadboard space, and each one of those terminals is hooked up to switches or push buttons for high or low TTL outputs. And basically I just wire wrap the whole thing together. You can kind of see there. This was years ago, so this thing's pretty old, but it works great. This is my pole position station here, where I'm working on that pole position clone. I just threw this harness together the other day just to make sure that my one working board set still in fact ran, and it looks like it does. It's got a couple minor graphics glitches, but it's working enough for me to go ahead and reverse engineer the customs and work on that. So what else we got? We got multimeter here, clock generator, pulse generator. This is my logic analyzer, the HP 16500B. I did manage to throw a Craftsman cabinet in there. I don't think there's anything in there right now. Storage space underneath, tons of storage space. Let's swing over to the front. We got my toolbox here, dual Craftsman cabinets there. Somebody was throwing away at work a whole Vidmar of components in these red boxes, and so they work awesome. I mean, I can just fill up a whole thing with boxes however I want to and fill them up. And I can put all my test equipment in here. I think I got all my Fluke stuff down here, and all sorts of other good stuff here. So it works great. And these were, I think I mentioned, were $50 a piece, and I couldn't even build a cabinet for that kind of coin. So what else we got over here? So here's where I do. This station here is going to be for all of my repair work. People send me their PCBs, and I repair them for them. These are all arcade PCBs that I'm working on. So this is a Tron that somebody sent to me for repair, and so I dig out the schematics and go through it and get them working again. What else we got? We have a scope here. That's my Commodore monitor, and then this is just another extra bench or workstation here that I'm working on an amplifier for a buddy of mine. Swing over to here. We have all of my components basically in a huge staircase here, and so this is awesome because previously they were thrown on the other side of my basement on shelving because my lab was just constantly in limbo. I didn't really have a place to put all the stuff, and this is awesome, so I can put all my stuff here. What else we got? All my arcade documentation goes in there. More components and all sorts of good stuff to throw in there. Let's see, my rework bench is over here, and so like I said in the other video, I do all my diagnosing and stuff over there, and then bring the boards over here to get reworked. Nothing fancy, cheap soldering irons, Wellers, desoldering station there, machinist's chest for all of my tools and stuff, and yeah, anything that I do, creating my own PCBs. I got chemicals and enclosures and stuff like that in there. So if I want to make my own little mini projects, I can do all that there. Got a couple of cabinets for just general storage, PC storage and stuff like that. Let's see what else. This is my huge list of things to do for work. And this is basically my office. Let me pan back so you guys can see. This little corner of the lab here is where I spend the majority of my day. And so for those of you who don't know, I design digital ASIC cores. And so basically they were nice enough to let me work from home. And so I just tap into their Linux machines using a VPN and do all my work here at home. It is a huge blessing, and I love it. And that's about it. So yeah, very psyched to get all of my stations up and running here, to do all sorts of cool projects and repairs and everything. So that is all. Hope you enjoy.